So, a very good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining in to really, have a lot of answers related to the topic that we have floated here. Just I'll take a minute to introduce a speaker today and introduce JS Institute of Design to all of you. I am Nidhi Gupta. I am the head of the department at the institute here in Delhi. You also just got introduced to our dean, Professor Nain Seow. She comes with a massive 30 years of experience with varied domains, but quite essentially, design has been her core. And I think she leads us and she takes us, with the new spirits and excitement. With that excitement, I'd like to introduce you what we do here at JS Institute of Design with an intention and a strong believer in the fact that design has its leadership role to play in the industry wherever we go. With that intent, the institute was started by the JS stores who led this institute into the new phase of understanding design, and that is digital domains as we look at it. So here, excitedly, we are every day working on the different changes that the industry is coming through, the integration of various fields and designs, as you can see, the digital domains that you can see. So we are delivering courses across digital products like game art and design. We have experience design, and we have visual communication, which is like the bigger belt of communication design. So with our expertise, we are able to deliver and help you understand how to have an understanding towards the changing format of how design has been taking its role up, and help students and people who are always interested in learning design to take over and really understand where is it heading and how you can make a better decision with your career, and then come along and really learn the expertise. With that, today we are going to introduce one of our main streams, which is the digital design domain and digital products, as we call it. And in a very crack nutshell, it's a lot of experience design we talk here. And today we've brought forward Kahaan Baxi here. Thank you, Kahan, for really joining us. Kahan comes with explorative young blood, and he's been there with plus 6 years of experience in the industry. You started your career with Hike Messenger, and I think he's moved up the ladder with various roles in experience design, with data visualization, with design research as being a strong domain. And Kahan is here to really take you through the journey to help you understand what does user interfaces and experience design really mean, and what does it take, for designers to work in this industry and find your foot in ground as to, make a better decision of how it goes forward. So, Kahan, the stage is yours, and I will be here to assist. And, guys, we will take your questions at the end of the session. We'll have a 35-40 minutes presentation by Kahan with a very interesting visuals and content to share with you. His experience, all forwarded, put here. And after that, we'll take up Q&A. You can post in your questions in the chat box. If you'd like to ask your question in person, you're most welcome to do that. The session will be recorded for all of you for you to know. And now the stage is yours, Kahan.
Thank you, Nidhi. Hi, everyone. So let's get started. Are you all able to see my screen properly? Awesome. Okay. Just give me a second. Okay. So thank you all for joining this webinar. You might have heard about UX UI a lot. So while they may seem to be identical to one another, as we go further in this presentation, you will understand what they are and how they are linked with one another. How about all of you write down one favorite app that you absolutely love in the chat? Make sure you mention why you like it. You can do that quickly while I'm presenting. Let's see if we have any answers. Oh, sorry, any replies here. Do we?
I think, guys, you can really chat. Okay, yes, we are getting some answers. Pinterest. Kahan, we are allowed to participate too?
Yeah. Please go ahead and make sure why you like it. You can also answer that in a very brief way. Like you don't need to like describe it a lot, but just we have Pinterest, we have Zomato, okay. Instagram, obviously. Like no one can hate Instagram ever.
We have Spotify, Canva. I think it's the generation of a lot of app
Yeah,
experiences.
a lot of them. Awesome. Okay. We have a few, but yeah, that's interesting. But wait, don't you think something is wrong on the screen? Can you guess what's wrong on the screen that you're actually seeing right now? One person got it right, yes. Okay, all right, correct. So you're interacting with the very first principle of UX, which is contrast, where you are not able to read it properly right now because it's so dull. So one has to make sure there is enough contrast to be able to make your readers read your content properly. Once you go deeper in this subject, there are a lot of other principles that you will discover once you enroll in the course. So moving on, what is user experience as a field? So now I want you to, for a moment, think about the broad choices you had to make in your life. Your birth, your name, your school, they were not a choice, they were given to you. The first major choice that you had was to choose the subject you wanted to do in high school. I hated maths. For me, science was not my cup of tea as well. So yeah, I really liked design. So once you finish school, you have to make a big choice, and you are at the crossroads, which is about which stream to take. You can either take commerce, economics, you can take arts, you can take medical, you can take law, you can take science. I took the green path, which is design. So in a nutshell, UX is about making decisions, and every decision counts. Whether it's about decision related to the visual aspect of it, or the decisions that are related to the strategical aspects of it. So if we break down the word in your day-to-day life, think of when you look at the word user, think about the people that you interact with in your day-to-day life, your parents, your grandparents, your friends, when you start working, your colleagues, the bhaiyas and uncles you meet every day while coming to school, or maybe you meet while hopping onto a kirana store to buy something. Industry professionals like doctors, scientists, engineers, journalists, all of them are users in some way or the other. So in 2024, almost every one of us is using some sort of a digital device which has an interface. So that makes us all the users. So users is basically the who you are designing for. Now, experience is basically about how you want your users to feel when they use your product. So some of the questions you can think about is, what do you think they want to experience, where you want your users to experience what you create, and how do you want them to sort of experience what you have created for them. But some of the examples could be, when you are using a particular uh, product or a service, say while you are studying, and you need some support in one of the concepts that you're trying to learn, and you hop on to your favorite resource online, and then you're able to read it. That's a very, very brief example of what an experience can be to make things accessible to you easily. So as a UX designer, your primary goal is to help users solve various problems and make it easier for them to complete the tasks. Some examples of tasks can be opening an account in a bank, helping users track their fitness, finding what exactly you want on Amazon, even on Instagram. If you want to upload a particular picture or you want to upload a reel, there are a number of steps that you take. On WhatsApp, when you are chatting, you want to forward a message or you want to send a message or you want to, make a group. All of these are different tasks that you can perform, and it's the job of the provider or the companies like Facebook, Meta, sorry, they are the same, Meta, Microsoft, and other such companies to make the services way more easier for you as a user. Okay, so now looking at UX from a very broad perspective, as you can see on the screen, you'll see a circle which which basically has different dots. So the orange dots here represent the research side of UX, and the white ones represent the design side of user experience. Now, UX is, it's there is no fixed definition of UX because it is incorporating a lot of things. And as we are progressing in technology, a lot of things are getting added, a lot of things are getting subtracted that are, not in use anymore, like old technology, but it's constantly evolving. It's not something that, once you know what it is, it won't change. It will keep on changing itself. So at the core of UX, there a very important aspect of it is, uh, just give me 1 second. Yeah, the design process. So design process is basically a framework for you to do innovation. Uh, the steps of design process include identifying a problem, conducting research, think of multiple possible solutions, select the one you think will be the most appropriate, prototype your ideas, make them with resources that you have. So it's not necessary that you need to have every bit of it uh, perfect. Like, you can create different things with the materials that you have around. Test your design with users for feedback, observe and record learnings, find patterns to your observations, make it for real, and integrate your learnings. So this is basically a framework where you can look at any problems that you see around. Maybe you find it difficult to use a particular application, or maybe you find it difficult to use a physical product. So just like just like any other experience, you can use the same framework for working on any of these different outputs as a product. Now, one of the things that you must have noticed in the circle, there is a blue dot that basically represents the user interface. So I'll come to this in a few minutes, in a few seconds. I'll just take you through some of the things that are mentioned here. So usability is basically the study of how a person uses a particular product. So for example, you make an application and you're making that application for maybe your grandparents, your dada, your dadi, uh, maybe your neighbors, and you have identified that they actually have problems in seeing the content of the app, and you redesign something and you make the content that is like very easy for them to understand. So maybe you increase the size of the content or you reduce the size of the content so that when they actually touch your app, they are able to do it very, very easily. The second is user research. Now, user research is part of the design process, but I've just kept it separate because it focuses on the art of having interviews and having discussions with the people you design for. So, for example, if I'm going to make an app for my grandparents, I'll interview them. Or if you are a app maker who is planning to create a product for a journalist, you need to interview them to know what their problems are currently. Or if you need to make an app for a sportsman, you need to know what their problems are. So you interview them, you ask them questions, and that's how you get a lot of feedback from them, and then you can use that same feedback. Now, ethnography is the art of studying different cultures. So, for example, I was in Hike Messenger and we used to go for ethnographic studies. So, for example, uh, if there is one region in India and we got to know that people are using stickers in that region a lot. Now stickers are those small emojis that you actually send to different people, and in some cities there are very very popular. So for example, in Gujarat, people love sending local stickers and local emojis. So through the ethnography, we were able to design better stickers. Customer experience is in a sense, it's a broad aspect of receiving feedback from different users. Okay, now the next topic is, what is a user interface? So user interface is everything a person interacts with on a digital device, like buttons, icons, menus, screens. It's the design of these elements to make navigating and using a website, app, or system easy and visually appealing. So, whether you're interacting with your mobile device, whether you're interacting with your laptop, whether you're interacting with um, say for example iPad or any such device with the screen, you will see an interface. Now sometimes interfaces can be invisible as well. For example, using the voice mode on ChatGPT, where you tap on a button and then you sort of give it a command, and then it sort of gives you reply. So that's like the invisible interface, which is going to move very fast as we proceed in the future. Now, within UI, there are different topics that are extremely important to actually have a user interface that is uh, very exciting and interesting to use for users. So, in this circle, you can see some of them: typography, motion graphics, visualization, color theory, iconography, illustrations, branding, identity, and layout design. So typography directly impacts how users read, understand, and interact with your content. For any digital product, content is the key. Therefore, it's essential, it should be readable and understandable. Now, imagine you go on a website and the fonts are really, really small. Or, say, for example, you're riding in a car and you're reading a book on your mobile device and the car keeps shaking. And the fonts are they are so small that they are unreadable. So to counter that, recently, if you read further, there are ways in your phones to actually stabilize the typography of the device so that you're able to read it properly. So in typography, there are subtopics like the kind of typeface that you want to use. Now, typeface is, you can identify typeface with the sort of font that you want to actually use. So you have different type scales, which, so on the screen you can see on the right side, you can see different sizes of the typefaces, and these are basically used in different contexts. So if you're designing say for a laptop, or if you're designing for a mobile, or you're designing for a smartwatch, all of them will use different sizes of typography as part of the experience. Next is colors. Now, colors are one of the most important aspects of UI design, but at the same time, colors only need to be used when they are required. So when you see an interface which is, full of lot of colors, you are bound to get completely confused as to what to do. Now imagine you are seeing a screen, okay? and you see a red button and a green button, but the red button is doing what the green has to do, and the green is doing what the red has to do. Imagine the confusion it will cause. So color theory is essential for guiding attention, creating hierarchy. It sets the vibe, and it makes it easier to read certain messages that are important or certain warnings. Next up is the layout. So layout design in UI focuses on arranging elements in a way that is visually appealing, functional, and user-friendly. The goal is to create interfaces that are extremely easy and simple to use for the users. Now, in layout itself, if you look at your phone, see how the icons are arranged. You look at your laptop, see how the interface is arranged itself. The dock is below. On your phone, now the dock is below as well. And if you look at your smartwatch, you can see how the different widgets are arranged on the smartwatch. So all of this is part of UI itself. Sorry, layout design itself. Uh, Next up is illustrations. Now, how many of you actually use Telegram? You just write in the chat yes or no. How many of you are using Telegram at the moment?
You guys can also raise your hand so we'll know. Okay, not
That's
using.
okay. That's okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So on. Okay, let me just I'll just show it to you here itself. So can you see the? Wait 1 second. Okay. So can you see this? So
Yes,
this is.
yes, Kahan, we can
Yep.
see.
Yep. So this is an example of how you can make your interface interesting. So with illustrations, with animated illustrations, you can add a vibe and add life to your interface. Now imagine if the same interface was like WhatsApp and I went on WhatsApp and there was nothing while I'm trying to, go on a new chat, it would be extremely boring. So it's to sort of attract people to use your product. It's very important to have elements of surprise where they least expected. Now moving on, uh, iconography is another important aspect in design because it helps in communicating quickly. Uh, it enhances understanding, saves spaces. It guides users, reinforces brand identity, and makes the experience memorable. Moving on, motion is one of my favorite parts of user experience because you can experiment a lot with how you want your interface to function and have that feel so that people who actually use it really enjoy using it. Now, once you have all of these steps, uh, you complete all of these steps, the next stage comes to sort of produce the design. Now, how is it produced? So, as a designer, you are not working alone. You will be working with different people, and these you will be part of a team, and you will be interacting with engineers who are front-end engineers, who are back-end engineers. Now, by front-end, I basically mean that when user interfaces have to be produced, they have to be coded in front-end, and that's how they are sort of developed. Now, I won't go in a lot of details here, but these are some of the layers that come as part of the interface. So at the top, you see the user interface. It's like a sandwich, right? You have the slice on the top, and then you have the fillings. So interface, front end, logic, back end, and everything are like fillings of the sandwich. Now, let's go back in time a bit and see where we started. So this is like a very brief history. I won't go in details here of what exactly each one of these are, but so in 1973, Xerox PARC was one of the first interfaces that computers had, and all the way from the invention of smartphone to VR headsets, mixed reality headsets, and then AI automation. In the end, now you have cyber cars that are running on their own, and the only experience that they have is a digital experience inside. So as the technology evolves, experiences keep building one after the other. Now, when it comes to UX as a term, this was invented in 1993 by a person called Don Norman, who said that he wanted to cover all aspects of the person's experience with the system. Now, the system means the interface, the physical product, the graphics, and the physical interaction that you have with an experience. So it can be digital as well as physical. Now imagine when it's about the phone, you're holding the phone. So that's like a physical experience. You look like you can see where, how ports are placed, how where the camera is placed. So all of this is the physicality of it. And once you interact with the interface, that's the digital part of it that comes in. Now, what's the mindset that you require to be part of user experience design? So the best part of UX is you always have to scratch from the beginning. You have to forget what you know about, do your research, and then you recall your initial knowledge, you apply it. So you have to say no to assumptions. You have to put yourself in another person's shoes and understand their struggles and achievements to create something that feels great. Now imagine that you are tasked to create an application that will help uh, people in a village, say in Punjab or Haryana, to reduce the fire burning, and they have to they have to find ways to sort of help each other. So you'll have to go there. You'll have to study them and see what are the actual problems that they are facing, and how can they sort of benefit from a product that will help them to actually manage that stubble burning that's happening around Delhi. Now, to basically uh, so to basically be part of user experience, you have to make it easier, and you have to make the design deep. You have to make the design in a way that's it's understandable. So you shouldn't join UX if it's about that you want to just learn a tool and you want to make designs. You have to understand how everything works and then sort of proceed further. Now, your mission, should you choose to accept, is leaving behind rote learning and build mindset for research and hands-on application. So just like Ethan Hunt is climbing and sort of running towards, you have to take this leap, and then you have to trust that you will be able to do that, and you'll be able to sort of create amazing experiences in the future. Now, you must be wondering, like, where is all of these things that I talked about applied, like in the sense as a whole. So just to give you an example, now imagine a scenario where you decide to attend Diljit Dosanjh concert in New Delhi, and you came across the concert on social media that captures your attention. You and your friends book a ticket using a booking platform. You're heading towards the metro and you're using your AirPods and you're jamming out on your favorite songs. You're going inside the metro and you are looking at different screens which tell you about how, like, where the metro is and how much time it will take to come. You're sitting inside on comfortable seats that are actually made with keeping in mind your back so that you're able to be comfortable. You're on Instagram just to see your what's happening in the venue, or what's happening around you, sort of explore. Now when you reach the venue, you have your smartwatch with the QR code that you put so that the gate opens for you. And then in the end, you enjoy a lot because the concert was really amazing. And an year later, you look back at your memories on your phone, and your phone now, with the help of AI, can create amazing reels or amazing films that you can see. So you saw graphics, you saw a wireless device without any interface. You are experiencing a physical product, you are experiencing a transportation system, which is the metro, then the industrial design, which is your phone itself, and you are experiencing your AirPods being connected to your phone. So that's an ecosystem that you're experiencing. And services like Instagram and the Photos app is a digital service that makes you really makes you want to use the experience itself. So here are some examples. Now, this is like how we sort of came from early 2000s to 2024, where earlier the focus was on making interface very mechanical and very you had to do a lot of clicks to actually reach the destination that you wanted. But now it's just chat gpt, where you can tap on a single button and you can prompt and you get a reply back. Now, some examples here are of just to sort of give you some examples on how bad UX can cause a lot of problems. Like, for example, in the Coldplay concert that is going to be held, there was a controversy of how people are not able to buy their tickets because they were being bought by someone else. Then there was an instance of the Indigo disruption where somewhere in US, Microsoft was installing an update, and everything crashed, and it affected a lot of dependent systems. So if I am Microsoft, I am basically getting my security from another company and I'm providing services. So when the security update is not working well, everything from planes, from cinemas, from metros, everything collapsed in one go. And on the other side, you can see Snapchat, that when it had one redesign, a lot of people faced problems regarding that. Now, here you can see an example of transportation apps like IRCTC on the left. In between, you can see Ixigo, and on the right, you can see Trainline. All of these have their own distinct looks. So the first one is the bare minimum, which is focusing on the basic functions. The second one is giving choices that you can either travel by train, flight, bus, or hotel. And the third one is it's focusing on your journey. It's saying that, okay, I want to go from X place to Y place, and tell me the modes of transport that I can sort of use. Now, if you look at these two screens, these are again two different platforms. On the left, you can see a cluttered interface, and on the right, you can see something that's very minimal and it's easy to use. Okay, can you identify these apps? Do you think they are the same or they are different? What do you think? Okay, one person got it right. Blinkit. So, no, it's not Amazon. So you can see here, like if you look at, so these are four different apps. So the first one is Blinkit. The second one is Zomato. The third is Swiggy. And the fourth is Swiggy as well, but the Instamart part of it. Now, if you look them together, all of them have the same functions and all of them have almost the same UI. Now, here you must be wondering, like, why do they do that? Like, they should be different from one another. But the important part comes that, when they have to sell products or when they have to, provide services that are really fast, they want an interface where they can, it's instant for people to switch between. So if I'm using Zomato, I can use Swiggy also, because it's almost similar, like the whole experience, but yet different in their approach. So yeah, it's same but different. Thank you.
Thanks, Kahan. So, guys, now we open the floor for you to ask questions. I know there are a lot of jargons given, a lot of words been told to you, which are really important to the vocabulary of design. But feel free to ask question in terms of your careers, if you have anything. We have few questions that the students had stated while they had registered. So if you have any questions, you can type in the chat box. If you guys want to talk, you can let us know. We can unmute and give you a chance to do that. So we will start off. We'll give you time to type. Meanwhile, Kahan, there are a few questions that the students had already sent us while they registered. And
Yeah.
let me just read that out to you, and you can help answer maybe a lot of. Okay, so we're already having some students writing it here. So, sir, could you
Okay.
give us some real life examples, like how are they exactly solved?
So what exactly this is related to? Like what are you referring to here?
Can
Is it
you explain the context as to resolving some life everyday life issues are you mentioning through UI UX that we can resolve? Okay,
in
yeah.
UX design? Okay, in
So
real life. Okay, I think the simplest, and I also struggle with that is like creating a schedule for yourself. Like I'm bad at it, but like like if you like from the point you get up till the point you sleep, like organizing your day-to-day activities, like okay, from this point to this, like from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. what am I going to do? From 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. what am I going to do? So that's like the basic UX problem that everyone is bad at solving. I can't. So I think that's like the first step, because then that will give you a sort of like a kickstart when you are actually looking at information. Like when you're given a task that you have to prioritize information, so that'll be easier for you.
okay, the second question that has come is Kahan. Thank you for answering it. Vanya, I hope you've got your answer. If you want to build up, you can definitely ask. So the second question is, how much potential does this field have? So would you want to highlight that?
Yeah, so it has a lot of potential, provided that I think like we as UX designers have to think out of the box a lot, because now we are in the time of AI. Okay, so that's like the big brother, which is like slowly getting intelligent. So it's like very important to like make use of AI, but at the same time like using it as a tool and not something that replaces your own thoughts and your own belief in what you're doing. So in terms of potential, it I think it has a lot of, because I think there are a lot of problems to solve. It's just that like we need to find them.
So true. I think, just to add to that, Ayushka, see, a lot of potential as we talk here, or Anushka, when you ask this question, let's just help you to understand it that right now itself, it is really running at its good potential, because post COVID, I think a lot of things fastened up, and you
Yeah,
realize that
that's
digital
true.
technology is going to be so closely integrated in your life that everything will be about a digital product. Nowadays, you don't realize that now your Kirana shop experience has actually become an Blinkit experience. So you're
Exactly.
already changed so much that the potential is enormous. Now imagine abhi Kirana shop where now your home automations have also changed to digital products. So sooner or later, your pen, pencil, your pen, whatever is writing, is also memorizing and writing it into, feeding it into the internet, and having you the notes there. A lot of things are changing and the way they're experiencing. So I think that's why we are having this discussion about really understanding the potential of design, which is moving from not just the physical world and into the digital world,
Yeah.
and how
Yes.
this integration works. So yes. So the next question we'll take up, Kahan, is by Soumya, where she's asking that if you could explain how the designs that we make
Yeah.
are added to the technology. So where the coding and the
Yeah.
backend
Yeah.
stuff happens. So what really happens there in an app?
So hey Soumya, so it's like it's basically if you look at uh, the designs that you make, so there are tools right now that allow you to create these interfaces. So what happens is that so for example, if you're creating say a simple square on these tools, right? Now, when you're creating these, the tools are actually converting that data of creating a square into coded language. So it can be, I'm sure in your computer class, you might have heard about HTML, CSS. So that's how they get sort of transferred to code language. So in code language, you'll have, okay, you're making, say, for example, a box, then the box has a height and a width and the color, so it has like, different details. So that's how at the front end, it gets like, transferred. All of this data gets transferred to the front end.
I hope, Samya, you got me answer. But I mean, of course, there is a difference that we understand how AI integration has also happened with coding. In fact, let me
Yeah.
give you an example. In here at the institute, when we have the game designers really designing the concept of the game, they're designing the visualization and they're doing the concept art, and Kahan has been very closely interacting. You realize that a lot of this coding part has become self-enabled with the kind of software help that is there. So the system is asking you to really do the intelligent work yourself and do the minuscule work of repeating and coding and putting your designs to action through a lot of support from these softwares. So I think once you dive deeper into it, you'll realize that the technology integration has become much closer, and so has the design integration with technology. Is also, the gap has been bridged a lot. Yeah, so I think any other questions we can take it. Otherwise, let's just go to the questions that the students had put in, Kahan. So yes, one of the questions in continuation to this was that how closely is technology and design related in the industry? Are the roles really defined, or are the expertise really intermingled? How does it work in the industry so that students can take a better decision whether to go for
Yeah.
UX design or UX technologies that ways? Yes, please.
Yeah. So, in terms of this question, in the industry, there are so there are UX teams. So for example, if you go in a company, you will encounter teams that are dedicated to UX design, and you will have dedicated teams for in some places there are like dedicated teams for UI design. Now UX looks at a broad strategic level, so if I am a UX designer, and it's something, and it's every company has their own way of looking at it. Okay, so it's not fixed. In some places you are a UX person, but you are also doing UI and research. In some places you are UI, but you're doing UX and research. So it's like it depends on the company, but in general, like UX and UI, so uh, you should have like different teams, because UI is totally focusing on the visual aspect of it, and UX is focusing on the strategic aspect of it. So just for example, you work for a bank. Right now in a bank, you have to understand the different processes of the bank, how it, how everything works, how the mechanisms inside the bank work. Like how do savings happen, how do financial transactions take place. So as a UX person, it's important for me to understand that. But if I get that responsibility, I also need to make visuals. It can be too much. So in some cases, these two are different roles. So it depends on the maturity level of the company, that like they have like separate or different teams.
Okay, but technology remains completely different. Is that so? Like the coding and the software engineering part of
So
it?
yeah, so the software engineering part of it is different from UX UI, because that's like that's the back end and the front end part of it. Although
Mhm.
it's important to know the front end and the design, because it will help you in in your career. But when you go to work somewhere, the technology side will be different from the design side.
Right. So, there was a question that a student had posed regarding what are the career growth paths that one can take if they are going to take up this as a part of their career choice. So, where can they go with this, and how do they grow in hierarchy in the companies generally, if you can highlight that?
So I think you start. So basically, in now again, it's like it's variable in different places. Like in some places, it starts with it's you're a UX designer in a team, and then as you have more experience, you become the lead designer of that particular team, and then you sort of become the manager of that team. But again, like it depends on you as a person, because a lot of times what happens is like you've worked on a product for like a number of years, and you want to switch. So when you switch, then again you have to like be part of another team, and then according to the requirement they take you in. So I think in the long term, I think it's more about the place you choose to go, rather than like looking at steps.
True. I think also if I can help students answer this also, adding to that, when you're at an entry level, mostly you get to either as a UX researcher, you'll be mostly doing a research based job. I think at entry level you'll find something to do with the design research as a core. Or the second thing, as UI, you will be able to do visual design a lot more. So at entry level, you tend to do these, skill based roles more, and then over a period of time, as sir mentioned, that it's become lead designers, and you become bridging gaps, and managers who are really doing multifacets role and looking at a macro level starts happening. Okay,
Yeah.
and the next question that was posed by the students was to do with how much a designer needs to know about coding or technology to be able to really do justice to the role. I think this is a question that even I want to know an answer to.
I
So
think, yeah, I mean, like, I would say everything. Like for right now, with access to resources, I think like if you want to be like, because what happens is that if I am a designer, and I face that, I still face it at times, that if I am a designer
mm-hmm,
and I want to get something done. But like when you have like you make a design prototype, right? But now when you have to get that coded, you like from the coding side, you will get um you'll get a wall, a sort of a wall, because they would say that they can't do this or they can't do that. So if you know everything, like if you know the like just enough to for the front end, you will be able to tell them, okay, you can do it this way or that way. So I think technology, like if you're really passionate, then I think learning technology and UX together is amazing.
yeah. I think also adding on, when we are teaching students, we have realized that, design is a very conceptual thinking process. It is not really done as a part of, learning through a book. There is no standard operating procedures that you can follow to learn design. It's continuously learning by doing, getting feedback, and, doing a studio learning. So that is something, I guess, comes in with your intelligence system. And apart from this, whatever skill, skill can be anything to do with drawing, with learning softwares, with learning languages. I think all that can come handy with for a designer. Now AI has really also opened hands for designers, no? That now you can really help and have a solution to that. So, okay, so okay, Ria, yes, you have a question. Would you want to ask the question directly, or would you like to type it? It's up to you. You can unmute and ask the
Hi.
question. Hi, Ria.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah. So, Kahan,
Yeah.
um, I'm aware of the UI UX industry. I've been following it since many years now. I
Hmm.
had done my BTech in engineering, and currently, but I've transitioned into the advertising industry. I'm a copywriter currently,
Okay.
and definitely looking forward to the PG in advertising at Ecole. So my question here is that I've been following a lot of UI UX pioneers and design sprinters also, like
Yeah.
AJ Smart and Design Sprint since many years. What I see is that there comes a point in a UI UX designer's life
Hmm.
where it becomes very important for them to have an online presence, right?
Hmm.
uh, because I am seeing so many like 100x designers, or let's say there's so
Hmm.
many right out there, ABN UX and everything. So
Hmm.
but honestly for me, I'll not elaborate more, but the mode I am in, I don't want to be an influencer. I just want to get good at, be a really good UI UX designer, be great at my job, and that's about it. But what's happening is that there's so much peer pressure, because every UI UX designer that you see, they are making their brands, and it feels that unless you have your own UI UX page on Instagram, you're not that big shot. So like, how do we because like, I don't want to identify myself as a UI UX designer for life. I'm a yogi also, so I don't want to, like, I don't want to have like one identity stuck to me. So is
So
there like good growth for people who are like undercover UI UX designers? Yeah.
I think I'd like to answer that. Like you have to see like how much. So I think first of all, for the influencer Instagram page, I think that's all like, it's like it's surface level. Like there is no depth in it in some cases. Like if people are making just for the sake of it, I don't think there is any value. But yeah, if you are extremely passionate about it, then it's another matter. But I think uh, in terms of growth in UX, I think it's about you have to like really focus on what you want to do within UX. Like, if there is something that interests you the most, focus on that. Like, if you don't want to like focus on all the different things that are happening around. But uh, I would say that if you want to solve problems, then UX is for you. But if it's more about online presence, then I would say like you can focus on something else at the same time.
Okay.
So, so
Thanks,
Ria,
Kahan.
yeah, so
Yeah.
Ria, just to add to this, I think you have to also understand it from a version of that. It's really at the end of the day, when we worked for so many years as designers and we are practicing in the industry. At the end of the day, your work talks way more.
Yeah.
So, whether if you don't have content, no matter how much you try to highlight it and, you try to sell it through the mediums, really what really matters in a design process is the kind of output that you get or the kind of solutions that you're doing through your problems. And if that is understood and done well, then I think getting as an influencer, anything is only to do as a marketing gig to grow yourself.
Yeah.
Now even you can grow in an organization, you can grow as an entrepreneur, you can grow as a independent freelancer. But as long as you get the satisfaction of doing things and solving problems, in a design process, or mind gets consumed, I think you will find your way forward in that.
Yeah.
Thank you
And
But
so
just
much.
that, and
but
just to add to that,
yeah.
just one point I had was uh, uh, if you really want like to go into UX, I think once you're like really good at your job, I mean, even if you don't have an influence, a social media, a profile or anything, it won't matter. I have so many friends who just they are so fed up of Instagram, they don't use it. Even my mentor doesn't use Instagram or any other app like that. So it doesn't matter. Like that's all like, it's not required.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. Thank you, Ria. Thank you. But very interesting profile, huh, Ria. You've done your BTech and now moving into you practicing as a content writer and now wants to get into advertising. So hopefully we'll meet on in person sometime soon to really discuss it, and hope we are able to really help you shed some light on the kind of questions you've got. So
Absolutely.
I think with one last question, we can take up Kahan, and that's come from Soumya, which says that do you think a Wix Studio type apps which are there for your website design are more efficient than a proper coder who designs the web pages or sites? I think
Okay.
Soumya comes with a lot of technology integrated on questions.
No, but it's an interesting question because so it depends like, so if it's again like the question that someone asked before about how much you should know about technology, that question links here because so if you're someone who just wants to put your work, just put your work online and you don't want to do any, like, it's just for just having a platform where you're showcasing your work, then Wix Studio does the job well. If you are someone who wants to showcase your skills when it comes to technology aspect of it so that you can customize the code, like the front end part of it, and you are presenting it, then that's a different matter. Then you can go ahead with like learning coding languages and then like sort of making a website that is but again like it depends on your purpose. So if I want to make again something fast, I'll just use a template and I'll put my work on it, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, just adding to that, Soumya, we have this very interesting thing that we do at the institute, and we tell the students that what is the purpose and what is the target that you're trying to achieve. That's way more important. If your idea and your problem solving skills says that this is what you need to achieve, don't discount it for anything. Whether it is an app that can help you do that, whether it is a software that can help you do that, whether it's a proper coder who can help you do that. Have your decisions been done according to your solution that you want to provide for your design problem? Don't discount that, because that comes from the understanding of design conceptualization in your head and what you want to achieve. Just use these kind of, they're all support things for you. An app, a coder, they're all support to give your design solution in the right manner and forward. So take your decisions basis that, not basis what's good or bad. If it gives you your solution in the right form, quick
Yeah.
form, in the best deliverable format, just go for it.
Also, another thing here that like when you are making a design, just like Nidhi said, like you think of how it's going to, you don't think of the solution, you look at the process of like, how what you will end up with. So
Yeah.
yeah.
If you work in this limitation, it'll be difficult for you to really have an innovative solution. So let the technology flow and help you support in everything that your mind says is the right thing to do for a good user experience design. Yeah. I hope, Soumya, we've been able to answer that. Uh, yes, lovely. So, we had taken the last question of the day, and I think it was a very great interactive audience. Thank you guys for sticking up. Kahan, I think it was lovely having you around here, and you've really shed some very, very intensive light on UX and UI, and we look forward to having more and more interactions with students and you around. And with this, we're going to end the session. We do come up with online and offline sessions both, which are organized by JS Institute, and we get expertise like Kahan and many other from the industry in different areas. So you can follow us on Instagram, which is available to you on. I think we don't have the link here, but we can have that being sent to you, and do follow us. You will keep getting the updates of the same.